Good evening and happy Friday. Hashtag my global family. This is Dre Abeita, coyote walking in this world and real life Islamophobia superhero. Welcome to our very first episode of Hashtag Our Sisters' Dreams, Changing the World Through Friendship and Family, Episode 1. I am here with my amazing educational warriors, Rachel and Liah. Rachel, why don't you go ahead and start off introductions?
Awesome. My name is Rachel Terlop. I am a first grade teacher during the day, and at night I am a PhD student at George Mason University. I am thrilled to be here. You're up.
Woohoo! And now is our amazing sister, Liah. And family, we are doing this old school style because she is tuning in from Indonesia. So she is currently on the iPad via the Line app. And here she is.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Liah from Indonesia. I'm an instructor at a local university here, and I teach educational psychology, which I get the degree of from the University of New Mexico in 2017.
Sorry, family. We are old school res style. So she's literally on the iPad, but I'm showing her video on my phone. We got this, family. We got this. Let's go ahead and get started.
Well, so if I was able to change the slide, that would be the first best thing. Great.
It's all good, family. We are going to be doing this every single week. This is part of our vlog. So our first guiding questions for tonight during our wonderful introduction episode are who we are. So I'm going to go ahead and get the ball rolling. You guys know that this coyote is a two-spirited indigenous warrior from the Pueblo of Isleta. I am also a critical race whiteness intersectional scholar, and I am creating my own original critical race theory, Walking as Coyote Family, in which I say that during times of extraordinary need, especially during times like COVID, we need ordinary people to step up and become the extraordinary superheroes to lead our communities and create the change we need now. And I am so proud, family, because of the amazing work and opportunities that I've been afforded through my graduate program. I have met these two amazing superheroes, and I am incredibly happy that they're here today. Rachel, would you like, nitty gritty, family. We need to literally get into the nitty gritty of also who we are, because part of what we're going to be doing every week is sharing some of our lives. So just so you guys know, this two-spirited warrior is also an only child. I have been married to my legal partner for the last 16 years. I also have the privilege of lightness because of coloniality and empire building. I am a very light-skinned Native American. So that is one of the first things that I tell everyone, that I am an indigenous warrior. Rachel, I am throwing the ball over to you.
Thank you. So I'm Rachel Terlop, and my pronouns are she, her, or they. I am a singing, messy, flailing, colorful explosion of a white, able-bodied, neurodivergent, bisexual woman who's happily married to a man named Chris and have been for the past 8 years. My favorite color is yellow. I love sunflowers because they face the sun. I used to be a pre-professional tap dancer, but that went out the door when I hit 5'11", because apparently you can't be tall and a dancer in that realm. But anyway, I'm now a first grade teacher, and I've been in the classroom for the past 9 years. I am honored to have gone to Baldwin Wallace University, Trinity Washington University, and now I am studying to get my PhD at George Mason University. I am also attending a online university it is the University of Metaphysical Sciences through the University of Minnesota. And so through that program, I am actually learning about metaphysics and graduating with my master's in divinity in the next month. So I'm always thrilled to be talking with Dre and learning about her experience with life. So that's a bit about me. Liah, do you want to share more about yourself?
Okay, hi. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
It's all you, sis.
Yeah. All right. So I'm Liah again from Indonesia. As I mentioned before, I'm an instructional psychology instructor at a local university here at Padang Sriwan. That's the name of my hometown. I studied educational psychology at UNM in 2015. I finished in 2017. And during the first semester of my study there, I met Andrea. We met in this introduction to statistics class, and we have been friends ever since. We started off as a study buddy with another girl from Saudi Arabia. And, during the course of my study at UNM, we've been, friends. And a couple of months before I flew back to Indonesia, we decided to be sisters, and which continues up until now. I've been talking to Andrea ever since, I know her, and it never stops. It's comfortable for me to share, whatever struggles I'm experiencing, and she always supports me. And I'm happy to be part of the, this family members. And I'm a mom of 2 kids, and I don't know if you can hear them screaming in the background, but they're the kids that I, excuse me. They're the oldest one is 25 months old, and the youngest one is 10 months old. So I'm actually being crazy navigating my roles of being a mom and an instructor at a university every single day. And I do, since I'm a new instructor at a university, I don't have the privilege to having outsourced my family to help me with the household chores. So I do when I'm done with my academic responsibilities at work, I'm a full-time mom and a wife. So I do everything alone, and of course sharing chores with my husband, who is very supportive. And I'm currently working on my scholarship application to PhD program. I've been exploring a couple of universities, the options that a couple of universities at in the United States, can offer me. And I'm still, it's a work in progress. It's probably gonna take another a couple of months to decide where to go. Besides, I also have to get the approval of the scholarship committee as well. So, if that's okay, I would like, some kinds of support from everyone in this family. Over to Andrea.
Thank you, sis. Okay, how did we meet? Oh my goodness. I would have to say that Liah and I literally met in that math class, family. This coyote can't pass math. I'm definitely a humanities person. And so unfortunately, I totally relied on the friendship between Liah and our amazing sister from Saudi Arabia. And again, literally we came together, we studied together, we did everything together for that class, and it was amazing because that's how we get through life, family. It's the friendships that turn family that really get us through. And Rachel, why don't you tell them how we met?
Yeah, so we actually had the privilege of meeting at an interview that was a place I never thought I would be. So when I was at home during COVID in the deep, dark parts of October, November quarantine, I was desperate. I was desperate for something to do, to use my energy on. I'm going to school, but I'm going to school online. So I have all these new ideas. I'm trying to teach first grade online, and I'm desperate for a way to use my new research. So I finally look up what all my professors are talking about when they say they're going to the AERA conference, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to join this organization. I'm going to get involved. And they sent out a call for support. They needed an interim editor. And so I have never been an editor before and thought, now would be a good time to try to get involved. So I applied and had an interview. Dre was on the interview panel and took the time afterwards to email me and just share how she felt about what I said, just made that time to make a real personal connection. And she even invited me to work as a part of this consulting team after getting to know me. I'm so thankful that we met in education, but we met also as sisters, we met as adults, we met as these people who are interested in science. And yeah, we met and I was taking chances. That's such a great way to meet people.
I love it. And that's what's so wonderful about our global family is that we have those moments of connection where we're just human beings literally trying to make it in the world. And we have shine, right? We have a goal. There's a passion in every single person that I work with who really wants to just make a difference. And I am so honored to have these two amazing people in my life. And for you, my global family, who are literally here witnessing history in action. This is historic family. We are coming from three very different positionalities, not only racially, not only gender, not only sexuality, not only religiously, citizen via country and linguistically, but honestly, we're all driven by that passion as educators. And that is why we are going to change this world, family. So thank you again for not only our audience, but our participants. We are going to be here every week, family. And let's talk about what we're doing. This is episode 1. So what the heck are we doing? Well, first of all, we are researchers and academics and advocates. And what we're doing right now is literally collecting our data. As a revolutionary, a critical race scholar, and we're using the methodology of counter storytelling. So we walk the path of our ancestors and we're a little bit off of normal, right? What is normal anyways? But as an indigenous two-spirited warrior, I can tell you that I'm definitely seen as being off the beaten path. So what we're doing right now is we're going to be sharing our bits and pieces of our life. We're going to be using the framework, which says we have to have a balance between our mind, bodies, and spirits. So we're going to be telling you about our lives, family. We're going to be telling you about our relationships. We're going to be talking about what work looks like from 3 varying positionalities. And we're going to talk about how COVID literally changed our lives. So we're collecting data, we're sharing our life stories with you in the hopes that we literally are going to learn about this. So what do we do after we have done this amazing exercise with you guys and sharing our lives with us? We will transcribe it. We will throw it in a data analysis program called Deduce. We'll thematically code it. And we'll literally write and get publications as critical autoethnographers in our various fields. And this is part of our data. So thank you for being part of our research team. Let's go ahead and continue, and we're going to get started with our weekly segments. So the first portion of our evening was getting to know us, who we are, and what we're doing. And now we're going to get to the nitty gritty. So this will be the segments that we cover every single week. So the first one, family, is a day in the life. And literally, we're different parts around the world. I am currently in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Rachel, where are you hailing from?
Right now, I'm in Alexandria, Virginia.
So Albuquerque, New Mexico, Alexandria, Virginia. And Liah, again, can you tell us your hometown?
Yeah, I'm in North Sumatra, Indonesia, in a hometown called...
Oh, sorry, hold on 1 second. It says I'm having technical difficulties.
Okay,
go ahead. One more time.
I'm in North Sumatra, Indonesia, which is one of the, the most corner, I think, provinces in Indonesia. And I'm in a hometown called Padang Sidimpuan. It's very small hometown with, nothing actually, nothing like what you guys normally see in Albuquerque, for example, in lots of cities in the US. No cinema, no malls, no shopping centers. It's only traditional markets and greeneries and things like that.
Absolutely. And so we are going to be sharing our lives. It's going to be interesting. Liah, you were going to start us off today. And our question for today, family, just to get us started, is what does a day of work look like before COVID and then now?
Okay, so before COVID, first of all, I'd like to start from, what my responsibilities at office is. I work at a division called language assessment at the local university that I talked about. And so what I'm doing is that I make sure that every, senior semester students get tested for in English and Arabic, and make sure they, go through the standardized tests that we have prepared here and give them certificates if they pass. And those certificates will be used to, as a requirement for graduation. And later on, they can also use those certificates to apply for a job. And so what I'm doing before COVID is that I talk to students about their difficulties, their challenges about, passing those examinations, and help them individually if they need, or I organize like a study group to help them, to prepare them for the next test. And also, for those who pass the test, I also distribute the certificates. And now after the COVID, everything is done online. My job is mainly, preparing those certificates and distribute them online, and help the students who need support in that kind of aspect through, chattings online, through whatever it is. It's online now. So that's what my responsibility is. Does that answer your question, Andrea?
Yes, absolutely. Rachel, do you want to go ahead and go?
Absolutely. So as a first grade teacher, a day of work before COVID would look like me getting up at around 6 o'clock in the morning, taking care of myself by showering, taking my medication. I know I mentioned previously that I am neurodivergent, but for me, that includes taking medication to support anxiety, depression, and ADHD. And so that is part of my self-care routine. And from there, it involves driving to work. I live 15 minutes away from where I work and have the privilege of driving. And when I am there, I have time before school that is uninterrupted planning time. I do like to get to work early during non-COVID times and prepare all my materials for the day or the week. It looks like students coming in at 8:30 in the morning, teaching, interacting, playing, singing, creating, building, all of it. We're doing that in addition to readers workshop, writers workshop until around 11 o'clock in the morning. So 8:30 to 11 with students. Then they transitioned into lunch and recess, and we go back inside for math, and then we go inside for a specials activity like music, art, Spanish. We also have library and guidance. So we have dedicated time for our school guidance counselor to provide mental health services as a part of students' weekly routine. And then throughout the course of the day, I have about a half an hour for lunch and then an hour of prep period to get myself together, get my materials, my copies made, any teaching resources I need. And then I have about an hour left with the students for us to do science or social studies. We end the day with reflection, what went well, what we can try to work on for tomorrow, what our goals are. And then the students head out at 3:45. So I'm with and engaged with students from 8:30 until about 9, not 9, oh my goodness, until about 3:45 in the afternoon. After school, it looks like me pre-COVID driving to campus. So that's about another 20-minute drive. I would drive over, I would have night class or study or just use the facilities on campus. And then travel home. If I had an early class, I could be home back in my condo by maybe 7:30 or 8. I would eat something and try to go to bed by 9:30. That was if I had no work, no extra to do. But COVID changed a lot of that. All of that time I had interacting with students was drastically decreased. So we went from having a 7-hour day with children to having an hour and 20 minutes in the morning and an hour and 20 minutes in the afternoon of virtual instruction. Virtual instruction with students who speak languages other than my own in the house was a challenge. It was a learning curve for me in communicating through translation and trying to like seek out support so that I could make contact and build that relationship with students and families. So during COVID, I was teaching and interacting with students much less. However, the amount of time spent preparing, finding resources, finding community members to support whatever we were doing, whatever I need, like was translating, that took a lot of time. And because I have Apple products, my phone tells me that, you know, I use my screen for 12 plus hours a day. And there was times during COVID that it was up to 13. So a day pre-COVID looked like building and playing and climbing and being outside and being with kids. And then a day during COVID was very different, hunched over a screen and stationary. Did that answer your question, Dre?
I think this question was so loaded, family, but that was amazing. I think that it's hard for us to articulate really and understand how drastically our lives changed. Like I'm just realizing I asked one question and all three of us are answering it in completely different ways that are unique and that's important. Thank you both. A day in the life. Well, it really depends. So now I am a vlogger. So this is part of my doctoral dissertation project, family. And so I literally am on social media for 20 plus hours a week. So when I get up in the morning, depending on the day, I have to do cardio. I have to work on my mind, body, and spirit. I've lost 110 pounds 3 years ago through the help of gastric bypass because I've been diabetic since I'm 15 years old. And I'm currently a 40-year-old coyote. And so that means that I have 25 years of damage, which included blood hemorrhaging in my eyeballs. I had several very painful surgeries and loss of feeling in my legs and arms, as well as some potential kidney damage. So I was dying at 35 and made a decision that I was going to take control of my life. So I started with a yoga senior tape, literally tried to do that 2-3 times a week and slowly worked up from there. So I literally spend 2 to 3 hours a day working out, lifting, doing 3 miles of cardio, doing 1 to 2 yoga segments. Shout out Yoga with Adrian on YouTube is my favorite go-to place. You guys see it every weekday. I literally do a yoga or meditation on my YouTube channel, which is literally through my Facebook. So Facebook has been the social media platform that I have chosen for my doctoral project to really be my close family. So I'm currently a vlogger, and hopefully by Monday we'll hit 16,000 followers on 6 social media platforms. Yeah, I'm about 75 away from 16,000. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. What's the other one? I know I'm losing one, family, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's valid data though, because my project is literally asking us, how do we deal with wellness? How do we deal with trauma? How do we deal with experiences? And I'm problematizing not only the multiple facets of our identity, But literally, how do we create community and how do we use social media as another part of who we are? Because I'll be honest, family, I'm a critical race whiteness intersectional scholar talking about an identity, but 2 years ago, I did not believe that social media presence was a legitimate form of identity. I was a non-believer, family, and that was foolish, foolish, foolish of this coyote, because I didn't think that it was I was a dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur learning how to wrangle and walk through this new modern world. And who we are on social media does matter. So I literally work out a lot, family. I film a lot. You see my videos. I do anything from my panic attack when I'm having my PTSD is being not as well managed as I would like, to my yoga videos, to my very own church. So this coyote is a survivor of rape and molestation as a ramification of Indian boarding schools, police brutality in 2008 when an officer racially profiled my partner's car and arrested me for asking for his name and badge number. I sued, but I also lost 9 months of my life because I was stuck in my house. I could not leave my house. In addition, family, in 2018, I discovered that my white male tenured professor was targeting students and using me to sleep with them. So I was a witness in a sexual harassment suit in 2018 and has been fighting the university for student voice and change ever since then. So what did I do? I raised my own church. My Gammy told me, she said, literally, that's what white people understand. She says, I know you don't like church. I know you've been harmed, but use that word because they'll understand what that means. So on Mondays, family, this coyote is pastor of Coyote's Lodge, House of Spirituality, Critical Theory, and Medical Marijuana. And our church services literally do not come from a book of God or any religion, but rather they come from our indigenous ways of knowing and healing, like coyote trickster stories or Napi stories, or literal sociological studies like Michelle's and Alexander's The New Jim Crow. So I'm just saying, family, we work on our minds, bodies, and spirits. We use critical theory, critical reflection. And when we pray, we're literally talking to our ancestors who've gone before us. So that's a day of my life, family. I get up, I record, and then just kidding. I'm also chair of the American Education Research Association Graduate Student Council, the largest educational graduate student organization in the world. I raised ad hoc committees, family, and we're trying to make humanizing educational change. In addition, I'm also a graduate student for the Mellon Foundation at the University of New Mexico. I am a bridge between CNM and UNM for the Native American Studies students. We're literally helping students literally go from high school to their associate's program at amazing institutions like CNM, and then transferring on and finishing their degrees at places like UNM. What else do I do? I'm a pastor, I'm a graduate assistant. Oh, I also work with my amazing mentor and academic dad, Dr. Steve Desai, and have been working on the Albuquerque Public Schools, University of New Mexico Ethnic Studies collaboration. So during COVID, I was able to observe classrooms and see our amazing educational warriors support our students. And then I'm also a child, a granddaughter, a grandchild family. I'm two-spirited. And so I spent a significant amount of time with my mama bear, my mama tiger, my super dad, and my beloved partner. And my besties, my sisters. I'm also raising a nonprofit family, the Abeita Sheer Community Foundation, of which this is an educational free segment, as well as our consulting group, the Abeita Consulting Group, in which we literally give opportunities and a presence on social media for our amazing global family, whether they be artisans or educators or researchers. We help people's dreams come true. I think that's what I do in a day, family.
Good job.
I wrangle all that
I'm so
stuff.
proud of you.
Thanks, sis. All right. So just real quick though, family, I think I asked this question wrong. And as researchers, we always go back to our data collection and we find out a little bit more of how we can really tease out our human experience, right? We're talking about our lived experiences, family. So one more time, family, I'm just going to give us a quick little one thing. Let's focus on one thing. I want it really to be getting ready in the morning, like the physical activity. So I talk about PTSD, right? And you guys have seen my videos. And if I don't feel good in the morning, it'll mess up my whole day, my whole schedule. So I will literally, and that's why I talk about my medication. During these segments, family, I also want to mention, because of my global family, I am an openly two-spirited, bisexual medical marijuana researcher. Unfortunately, in some countries around the world, not specifically anyone here, but my global family spans all of the continents, family, except for Antarctica. I need to find some family in Antarctica. But depending on your positionality, depending on the political situation of their government or their religious views or whatever, right? Even in the United States, right? Critical race theory is literally being outlawed, family. I was always a revolutionary, but now I'm an outlaw. But I'm just saying. So when we're here, I will talk about certain topics that may or may not be, I will omit certain topics rather for the safety of all of our global family. So just so you know, some of our conversations here may be modified. So again, we're going to go back through starting with Liah, but let's just talk about how we get ready in the morning, family. So I'm a vlogger. I put on some makeup. I literally, showering, clothes, right? Before COVID, this coyote would go to the mall, right? Still working on my shopping addiction, family. How do we work on trauma? Well, sometimes we have bad habits. Liah's laughing because that was one of her favorite pastimes here in the US, going to the mall. But even something as simple as that, right? So family, when we go through again and we're talking about getting ready for the day, let's go through that routine, right? Before, like for this coyote, be getting camera ready. Maybe for Rachel, it's getting ready for the classroom. For COVID, maybe it's getting ready for to see them on Zoom. For Liah, honestly, I'm so interested, sis, because you had to travel, right? I want to say that, getting ready for you wasn't just the logistics of getting ready, but also like how to get to work. So let's talk on that real quick, family, one more time, going through before we go to the next segment.
Okay, sure.
Literally the physical getting ready part. All right, Liah, take us away.
All right, so I set up my morning pretty early, like maybe earliest that most Americans that I know of, even in Dre. So I start up at like 4 a.m. in the morning. This is because I'm a Muslim, first of all. So as a Muslim, I have like 5 mandatory prayers every day. And the first prayer starts off around 5 in the morning. But, personally, I'd like to get, prepare something like physically, I need to be prepared before prayer. So I take a shower and, have something to eat, because I don't know, I'm breastfeeding, so I'm hungry a lot. I'm hungry a lot, so I need to take something for a bite before I pray. So yeah, after showering, I drink a cup of tea and have a couple of biscuits and then praying, of course. It's called subuh, and then after praying, I'd like to recite a couple of pages of Quran and. After that, I, do some household chores, like including like cooking and preparing meals for my kids, because my meals and my kids' meals are not the same. I can eat spicy food, but they have to be separated. So that's what I'm doing. And then after that, the kids are normally awake by the time I finish cooking. So I bathe them and feed them and help them shower and dress them up so that we can drop them off to the daycare they normally spend, time in during my office hours. And after that, after dropping them off at the daycare, we go to our office. Me and my husband works at the same university after COVID, but before COVID, we were in a different institution unit, I guess. And so after that, I teach, of course, as an instructor. I have a responsibility to teach 3 classes in the morning. That it usually starts at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock up until 12 in the afternoon. And then after I finish teaching, I head back to the daycare because I have to breastfeed my baby. She's 10 months old. And spend a couple of, maybe 40 minutes there. While, if it is possible, I also help feed them and also play a little bit with them. And after that, I go back home again to take some rest and having some lunch with my husband. And then the office hours starts at 2, normally after the break, the lunch break. So the lunch break starts at 12 and ends at 2. So we go back to our office at 2 o'clock. And that's where I spend, my time, helping students who wanted to get examinations in TOEFL, IELTS, and TOEFL for Arabic. And for those who have already passed the test, is hand them the certificates and everything. That's pre-COVID. But after the COVID, I, like I told you before, I do everything online, including the teaching part. So, but in terms of like the amount of time spent doing those activities are still the same for me. So there's no difference. I think it's because this is university, so 2 credits counts as 90 minutes. It's still the same pre and post COVID. And then after I finish my work at the office, usually at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we pick the kids up from the daycare at that time, and we head back home. And after that, I forgot to mention that before heading back to the office, we usually pray. There's another prayer for us to do, and then it's called Zuhur. And then at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we pray again. And that's another prayer called Ashr. And then after 5 o'clock, we drove back home, and we play a little bit with the kids and help them socialize with the neighbor kids as well. And then at around 6:30, there's another prayer called Maghrib. We pray, and everybody has to be inside the house. Nobody is outside. And that's when, after that, we prepare for meals and, some bedtime stories with the kids. But my kids are not like, they don't really like to go to sleep like early. So during the time I play with them, or sometimes with my husband, I multitask a lot. Oh my God, I can't even say it, but I multitask a lot. So I play with the kids, as well as like doing the laundry, preparing for cooking tomorrow morning, and preparing their bags to bring to the daycare tomorrow. It's a lot of work. And so after that, at around 9 in the evening, we take them to the bedroom, and whatever we'll try to do whatever it takes to get them to sleep. Right. And so after they go to sleep, I finish up everything that has been started, like the laundry. It has to be finished before I go to sleep. And I organize my, teaching materials for tomorrow. And although as much as I don't want to as much as I don't want to take office responsibilities at home, it's always impossible. So sometimes I take like an hour at night just to prepare what I have to do tomorrow. So I usually go to sleep at like 11:30, and that's pretty late. And then I wake up again at the same thing goes every day. I wake up again at 4 or 4:30 in the morning, and starts all over again.
Wow, thank you, sis. Rachel, is there anything else you want to add? Sorry.
I also forgot to mention that, like, sometimes, and this is sometimes I also help, organize a meeting at my house, a meeting where students, because I'm an educational psychologist, sometimes the students who have no time to meet me at the office, came to my house at like 8 o'clock in the evening. just to talk, I don't know, to share whatever problems they have. And, I'll bring their case to the psychology board at the university, and we talk about it.
Wow.
And provide them solutions. Sometimes mainly it's ADHD. Sometimes they're too emotional with the pandemic things, and it's just giving them emotional support.
Nice. Thank you. That's amazing. And is that just part of your lecture? Are you volunteering for that, or were you assigned that?
Well, it's a voluntary. Yeah, no, it's not my teaching responsibility. It's a volunteer. It's out of compassion to take care of each other.
Thank you so much for your work, sis.
It's nothing compared to your work, sis.
No, let's not go there.
Yeah, we should contribute something to our surroundings. Everyone has to contribute something.
Absolutely. Sis, is there anything you wanted to add to your day in the life before we go to the next section, Rachel?
Let me make sure I said it all. Wake up in the morning at around 6 o'clock. And this is, let me make sure I say this. This would be a normal day pre-COVID. Wake up, 6 o'clock. I typically start with putting my coffee on, getting a big mason jar full of water and making sure I drink that. I unroll the yoga mat. I get on the yoga mat. I try to follow along with the class that I've registered for. I have a lovely studio that is near that offers online versions of their class. They honestly turn on a Zoom, they turn on a Zoom meeting and it's like you're in the studio. So I try to do that, but some form of get my body up. That is something I have just developed in the past probably 3 years. Of once I turned 27 and I started feeling my body parts ache at the end of a day, that's when I was like, oh no, we have to do something. So I would say I take my medication, brush my teeth, I am showered, I am dressed, I am out the door by 7:20 to 7:30, at school before 8, with students from 8:45, 8:30 until 3:45. That's it. And then, yeah, I'm trying to think because Liah mentioned nighttime routine. Is that something that would be helpful for me to share as well, Dre?
If you like.
Okay.
This is our data, family. We could do what we like.
I have discovered that because, well, let me back up and say this. When I got my ADHD diagnosis before COVID, it was very supportive for me to have words for what my mind and body was doing, because for my whole life, I have been told that I am impulsive, I am messy, I am destructive, I am all of these things, but it is my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I hop from thing to thing. And so after I get home, after I eat dinner, if I have downtime that is not being it is not being given to a project, to research, to school, things that I like to do in my downtime or my nighttime calming, bring myself back to myself, and the things I do to bring the energy back to me, because I spend the day putting it out and out and out. The things I do to bring the energy back to me at night. I have a harmonium that I have been loving learning to play. I have these gorgeous crystal singing bowls that I find really soothing that can be used with yoga, meditation, and Reiki. I am a painter. I am a builder. I'm trying to learn to sew. So every night I try to get into something. a little activity, a project, a way to be creative, just for me and just because some of that even goes into doing art therapy with you. So that is something that I do to take care of myself. Those are also habits that continued during COVID. So with this question, Dre, I have to be really honest. During COVID, I slept until 8 o'clock. My camera had to be on at 8:30, but I was asleep until 8. And as soon as I was allowed to turn my camera off, I did. And I slept until I had to turn my camera back on for our afternoon session. Then I would nap again sometimes. I would sleep every time I was not on the computer. It was hard for me to get my work done, but I would have these sporadic bursts of once I was awake, I was able to get all of my thoughts processed, and like it was almost as if they came through me and just like into the computer, and then I would go sleep again. And I went through that pattern for months, it felt like, of just sleep, put it in the computer, sleep. And during COVID, I struggled to do all of that morning routine, all of that nighttime routine I just told you about. I struggled to brush my teeth. I am not kidding. I struggled to shower. It was, my husband he looked at me and he was like, you need to brush your teeth. I'm very sorry, but like, it is like noon and you haven't done it yet. Like, it's time. Because I like you mentioned, getting dressed, I did not want to get dressed. I really did put on a nice top to teach, but I know it was like a funny thing we all joked about wearing pajama bottoms on the bottom, but I did because I was in such a state of shock and confusion and all of that while also trying to figure out new medication for ADHD, for depression, transitioning into a new home. Like, we physically just moved into this house right before COVID and the lockdown began. So I feel as if I was hibernating for portions of the day. I don't know a better word to describe that, and that's something I should think about. But my day of work during COVID is a very sleepy and foggy time for me. It was very hard.
Rachel.
Yeah, I agree with Liah. That is rough. I'm just thinking of what I could add, but it's basically feeding off what you guys have said. Showering. Okay, so this coyote is not naturally red, obviously. And when you dye your hair like this, like extremely, you have to learn a whole new routine. Like, there's dry shampoo, you can only shampoo. Like, I literally, 2 years ago, before I was red, would shampoo every day faithfully. I had to shampoo every single day. I have a 20-minute teeth brushing regimen with my Sonicare family. It's like a whole thing. And I was thinking about Rachel's routine. Yeah, I have a routine. I never did it, family. I never did it. I'm the person I used to call myself the Sun Princess, but I'm too spirited, so I upgraded to royalty. So when you go in my bathroom, I have all the bottles. I have, this night cream, this wrinkle cream, this face mask. I'm currently in this Robert Thomas Roth thing. I keep calling him the wrong guy. I just go to the Clinique counter and they know what I'm talking about, family. But that's also privilege, right? I think about my shopping addiction. I have a shopping addiction, and that's part of one of my strategies for dealing with trauma, right? Like, what did I do when something was bad? My Gammy made everything better because we go to the mall. And I use that behavior inappropriately as an adult to deal with my trauma. So when I got stressed out, I either ate a cake, right, before gastric bypass, because I would eat, because eating would make me feel good, or I'd go shopping. And during COVID, I couldn't do that. Literally because, I didn't say I couldn't do that. You guys have seen my videos when I was sick, 4 out of 5 days throwing up in the morning, right? I'd get sick 4 or 5 times in the morning, and then I have to jump in the shower in order to try to calm down, because when my body's so worked up and I'm so panicking and I can't deal, my body will listen to me, which is why I use my medication that I can't mention right now. um, but I would do showering, right? Multiple times of showering. If Neil was here pre-COVID, during COVID, before he went back to the office physically, he was working from home. So I would be what I call koala-ing, and he'd be on a conference call doing his business as an engineer, and I'd be holding on to his leg, hyperventilating, trying to tell my body it was okay to calm down. And so COVID, I think it increased our state of anxiety because we've all been educators and we've been dealing with poverty and racism and homophobia. Liah and I, our previous work, talked about Islamophobia. And I'll be honest, she changed my entire perspective on Muslim people. I was the uneducated American. There's a book, it's called Do Muslim Women Need Saving, right? And that brings up a lot of biases and stereotypes that I had as an American before Liah literally adopted me into her family. And we met during a time of crisis. We literally met during when Trump was getting elected. Liah literally moved into my house, family. The last like 4 months before she went home, it was not safe. I half talked you into it. I think part of it was economic, but half of it was talking her into like it literally wasn't safe for our Muslim brothers and sisters to be on campus. One of our colleagues, our sister from Saudi Arabia, had police escorts take her back and forth from campus. We had someone's hijab had been pulled off in Zimmerman Library. So we bond literally with strangers who become family during times of crisis. And I think COVID really was another version of it, right? Historic trauma. It affects a lot of us. Thank you guys so much. We've been chatting for like about an hour almost. Let's go ahead and just do.
Well, this getting is interesting.
It is. I'm so excited. But we do want to go ahead and we'll be here every week, family. Don't worry, you're gonna get lots more from us. So let's go to our next weekly segment, which is our quick check-in, right? So again, using Walking as Coyote as our critical race theory framework, talking about how we need a balance between our bodies, minds, and spirits. So real, not too quick, not too long, but let's do a check-in, family. We're gonna go through a round, but what do we do for our bodies? Literally our bodies during COVID in order to have a balance. Oh, or don't we, right? It could be we do nothing or our habits could have changed or evolved. Liah, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Sure. This is probably, I don't know, I'm quite embarrassed, but I have to say that, working out at a gym center or fitness center is kind of a luxury thing for most of Indonesians, including me. So I can never, I don't know, at least up to this point, I can never afford to, any kind of subscription to a gym or a fitness center. So I don't work out like at all. Plus with my role as a mom and, university instructor, I don't really I'm just too exhausted to some type of workout. Like even if I want to. So the way I take care of my body is by controlling what I eat every single day. So I normally avoid, any kinds of food. I don't eat junk food or any foods that I think too oily for me. And I don't drink once in a while I drink boba, which is very sweet. But, it's not even like once a month. It's probably like, once, I don't know, every 2 months or 3 months. So plus it's also very expensive. So, in terms of workout, I don't know, it's if you should be embarrassed. I don't know, I'm embarrassed. But, the way I take care of my body is by, controlling what I eat. I don't drink sweet beverages. And that's, the same thing happened. I do the same thing to my kids. So although I allow Axel, my oldest son, I allow him to have 3 candies a day if he wanted to. But, vegetables and rice, vegetables, fish, and our, main diets pretty much. So
And just to
does that
clarify,
answer?
sis, for Americans, we're like 3 candies. That would be like 3 candy bars. In Indonesia, what does 3 candies look like?
Oh, it's candy here is very small. Like I don't know, maybe but it's very that's that's what I'm saying, like 3 candies. So American candies or I don't know, sweet bars like huge for Indonesians. So yeah, it's a jumbo size for us. So not like that. It's very small.
Thank you.
I don't also drink milk. I don't, my husband does not smoke. At least in front of me, I don't know. But we don't also drink what you guys drink for parties in the US. No cola, no Sprite, no nothing. So I hope that helps. Although I should probably work out very soon. I don't know. It doesn't have to be at the gym or fitness center. I can do it actually at home, but it's like I said, I'm just with all the daily responsibilities that I have, I'm just too exhausted for a workout. And that's a bad thing. Over to Andrea.
Well, family, again, during COVID, it depends on the day of the week. If my PTSD is acting up, this coyote will be locked in her room, and you've seen my cancellations. I'll be like, goodbye, world. I will see you again next week. And I'll be honest, I might go 2, 3 days of just staying in the bed, eating takeout, and telling Neil to be my communication to the world. So it really depends. But other than that, family, I am faithful to my 15 miles a week of cardio. I try to get in an hour of cardio every day, 3 miles at three incline. I used to be an elliptical person at the gym, and then through COVID, it was just too much of a safety concern for me to actually make that trip. So my mama, again, privileged family, American privilege. I'm always writing about it. I'm always, literally talking about how our socioeconomic status in the United States is ridiculous, family. There is no other country in the world that has our standard of living. And we know that because during COVID, when there was a global crisis, what did Americans do? We bought enough vaccines for what, 1.5 times our people. And so we solve our problems with money. And again, during, highlighting the fact that my family is global, our positionalities are incredibly different. I just want to say, being able to buy a treadmill for $1,800 and have it delivered to my house during a pandemic is kind of crazy. But it's what Americans do, right? So I just want to say, family, don't forget our normal is not actually normal. Over to you, Rachel. Oh, sorry. Do you want to say something real quick, Leah?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that what you guys most Americans consider normal in the US is not normal for us Indonesians. So yeah, totally agree. I've been there, so I've been experiencing both countries, so I have my comparisons, and it's a huge discrepancies, I guess.
Absolutely. Over to you, Rachel. Bodies.
So as we are talking about this right now, I am actually in the middle of my self-care routine because of our time difference. It is almost midnight for me. So something that I have started doing is honestly taking time to clean my fingernails and paint them. And like you said, the American privilege is startling. I did not realize before COVID how much of my income I was putting towards maintenance, manicure, and pedicure. I was not willing to take care of my own body. That is absurd to me now. What I'm noticing is I was putting money towards something that I thought was taking care of me, but every time I would leave, I would have a cut. I would have when you get the little cuticle on the side of your nail and it hurts. Did it ever happen to you? So like that was happening every time I went to the salon. And I finally just realized I need to learn to take care of myself in some ways, right? Like, let us learn. So, Dre, it was actually after talking to you, I called my mom and she was with my grandma. And I was like, what are you doing? And my grandma she's 101. I call her Mama, but she's 101. She is very, very sick with dementia and can no longer recall who we are. Most of the time, she sleeps for 23 hours a day. But something that she still and my mom can talk about and interact with is nail polish. And so when we're thinking about like this walking as coyote framework, and I'm starting like, I do not know much about my ancestors. I know little to nothing. I have started bothering my family. My father has started getting into it, but I'm starting with who I know. And something that my grandmother, both of them, they always had their nails done. And so I am happy to learn how to take care of myself in a way that I never have before. And I almost feel like it's a way of honoring them. Like I am slowing myself down enough to take care of this part of my life because there are so many parts of my life that I just push to the side, or I self-medicate, or I choose to just not take care of myself by brushing my teeth or showering or those things. But for me, slow is hard. Slow is very hard. So me actually taking care of my nails has become a huge part of my body maintenance. So I am proud of that. I'm proud of that. And I know that might come across as shallow and petty, but for me, it is a big deal to go this slow every single day. Like I am taking the time to clean and do this on a daily basis. So that is something that I am doing. My diet this week has been, I've actually been proud of myself. I made and prepared food for my entire week last Sunday, and I actually took all of that food to work this week. So because this week was my first week back in person in elementary school, we all have masks. We are all socially distanced. I have in the past, I have stopped in the morning to get breakfast, to get caffeine, to get what I need. Pre-COVID, I would stop at McDonald's and I would get a large Diet Coke, a large Diet Coke, a large coffee, and like a breakfast burrito. And I would get that every single morning on my way to work. Now that we are back, we went through the quarantine of COVID. COVID is still around. The Delta variant is ravaging our country, and we are still in the building. This whole week, my first week back, I made my own coffee at home. I took it to school. I packed my lunch. I ate my lunch. I came home. And tonight was the first night I ordered takeout, which during COVID, that was how I was eating. My husband and I, we ate out so much because we couldn't muster up the oomph to do it. We couldn't find the energy to either stop what we were doing, or we felt like we could not stop working, or in my case, I was just sleeping. So body, I would say this week, nails and food, I'm very pleased with. As for physical movement, I've been on the mat every day. I've been on the mat. It hasn't been the practice I thought it was going to be. I thought I was really going to have an energetic practice week. It wasn't. It was calm. I did a lot of child's pose. I took a lot of time just watching the sunrise and just looking at my plants, honestly. But that slowness in the morning, I guess that is me starting to go into mines though, Dre. the slowness in the morning was helpful to start my day.
That sounds like a good opening, sis. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about your mind? How's that been going lately?
Yeah.
My mind has been all right. I had a moment this week at work that was very anxiety inducing. So I'll share the small snippet that I can. This week at work, we are, as teachers, in charge of figuring out how our students get home from school. The only information before the first day we are given is who is on the bus. The other students on our roster, we are told to figure it out, how they get home safely. So I am an English speaking person. I took 4 years of Spanish in high school, and I have taken 2 years of sign language. I have taught in Kenya and learned Swahili through my time there and through formal training. I have taken Turkish lessons, and I'm currently re-enrolled in Spanish lessons. And with that, I am still struggling to communicate with my first graders. I have some students who will not respond to their names. I have some students who do not have the capacity to answer me in English, and I do not have the capacity to effectively communicate with them in Spanish. So my mind this week has been filled with a lot of questioning of self. I've noticed those thoughts come in, and I'm trying to just let them go. Just keep on going. They're not for me. I am trying my hardest. I have technology to translate. I have students in the class who are bilingual. I have some support. However, this week, with the stress of coming back into the building with all 800 children for the first time in 18 months, tensions were high. Some students had never been in a school building before. There was a lot of confusion, and I had an administrator raise her voice to me in front of students, staff, and parents, actually, during dismissal, because I was going too slowly in getting a child off the bus. So with that, I came home. I was proud of how I handled it. I took the time to stop, to reflect, to talk through the event with my partner, hear his perspective, talk through the parts that he maybe hadn't known or I hadn't shared with him. And I went to work the next day and was ready to have a conversation with her. And this administrator took the time to come find me, to apologize, like to share how she was mortified, and asked what she could do to help make it up and begin healing. So my mind this week has been supported by others and has been shown how to resolve conflict. So going into this weekend, I am feeling like my mind is clear, it is able to share effectively, and I feel like I'm able to be thoughtful and appreciative, which feels good. It feels good to feel good. How are you feeling, Dre?
I love that sentiment. It feels good to feel good. My mind is too full, you guys. It's because we're going through a lot, right? I keep going back to the fact that this is not normal. If you check in on my daily prayer, I try to end always with, if everything's not okay today, family, it's not you, it's dehumanization, it's COVID, it's capitalism, it's white supremacy, it's coloniality. And I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like I'm losing my mind every single day because I know and I understand the institutions, the systemic racism, the homophobia, the law, the history, like why we're in the situation we are. And I'm tired of being frustrated, and I'm tired of being tired, and I'm tired of fighting because I see millions of people around me being perfectly fine with just taking care of their own. taking care of their own shit, making sure they get their promotion, making sure that they get their fancy shit, and they don't care about other people. And it breaks my heart because I'm killing myself every single day. I'm bleeding money, I'm bleeding time because I'm trying and because I care, because all these people aren't strangers to me, because they're family, and I'm pissed off because of the promises that are made to us as children. You just had to grow up and be a good person and go to school and get a job and everything be fine, and it's never been fine. And I always go back to, when the hell did Native American people make it? When did women make it? When did transgender people make it? When have we ever been equal? When have our voices ever mattered? Especially after my academic predatory suicide scare. I wanted to kill myself 3 years ago because someone abused me, used me, and hurt other people. And I thought I was doing good in the world and realized I was harboring a monster. So as we walk through this world, I'm a monster to a lot of people. I'm a villain, and I am this scary motherfucker. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I can be scary if that means that someone can stand behind me and be protected. I'm okay losing friends. I'm okay losing support, because when I'm out there being crazy and I see the work happening, and when I say crazy, I don't mean that I'm doing anything out of the ordinary. I'm just doing the hard right thing, which a lot of people aren't willing to do. But that's because I have privilege. I have a family that supports me. I've had a partner that's had a full-time job who can pay the bills. And if I get fired because I'm advocating for a student who is being subjected to microaggressions or bias because they're a person of color, because they don't speak English, or because they smoke medical marijuana to save their lives, I think it's gonna be okay, family. Because as frustrated as I get, these amazing warrior sisters here, strangers right off of the street, literally will come up to me after seeing a presentation or after seeing me at a rally or at a protest and thank me for my work. So everyday family, this coyote thinks I'm going crazy, but that's okay, because I'm here sharing my life with you via these videos. And every time I make a video, I'm sharing a piece of my soul with you. I'm being a revolutionary, I'm being an activist, I'm being a researcher, but I'm also being a role model. I'm teaching every child out there, every student out there, every human being out there that they can be different and be proud of it. And I know that that's inherited wealth privilege. I know that's lightness privilege. And I know that's training because I'm charismatic. I went to Ivy League school. I know how to talk to people. So family, join me in being a superhero. Use all those weapons and come to protect our people, because we need people to protect and defend and lift us all up. I'm tired of going crazy. So join me in the revolution. Off to you, Liah.
Sorry, sis. You sound very emotional.
It's all good.
Okay, so it's different. When I was in the US, the way I take care of my mind is, by talk to you and to other friends. And honestly, I don't find those many friends that I'm comfortable of sharing my difficulties in language, in cultural, adaptation, and communication. So I don't have those many friends that I'm comfortable of sharing my struggles with. There's only a very limited number of people like you. You're probably the first on the list. And Iman used to be, a good friend to share, the struggles with as well. And then so normally people that I talk to is people who struggle the same, or at least next to the same maybe. So, but when I moved back to Indonesia, I no longer worry about, how the microaggressions that I might get when I walk on the streets, and how people look at my hijab when I, standing at the counter, checkout counter at Walmart, and, how some people questions my hijab, why I wear, arm extension and so on and so forth, why I get, randomly selected for random, I don't know, screening at the airport. I no longer worry about those kind of things. I have to be honest, frustrated me a lot when I was in the US. I just felt like, why am I the only one, who gets all these struggles? But then when I talk to other people of color, I realized that no, it doesn't just happen to me. They also experience the same, only in a different form, right? So when I moved back to Indonesia, my frustration about, how people treated me differently no longer exists, because here people are pretty homogeneous in terms of, and Muslim is also the majority of population here. And while in the US, probably a lot of the microaggressions that I got coming from my identity as a Muslim and as a hijabi, and physically I look very Asian, so I get all of these disadvantages maybe, so that makes me stand out from the rest of the group. And so when I moved back to Indonesia, my stress, frustration now comes from, honestly, my roles as, mother of 2 kids and an instructor at a local university. So, but I wouldn't say I'm depressed, because the way I charge myself when I got frustrated is, I don't know, I think I'm pretty simple. Talking with other people who have the same struggles can help me a lot emotionally, can help me erase the stress that I experience. And not to mention the prayers, prayer has always been very therapeutic to me. I don't know if I'm using the right word, but like, it helps with my stress. Reciting the Quran and, reading, funny books or whatever. I don't have TV at home, so the only form of entertainment that I have is, reading novels that I like, or honestly browsing funny memes on the internet. So, but I don't really, and again, I don't think myself as depressed. I'm just stressed because I'm too tired handling, the responsibilities and, listening to your kids screaming for 2 hours straight. Like, that's probably the biggest problem that I have in terms of stress. So the medicine for that is, talking to other people, sharing, visiting some friends and reading some novels, and, that's it.
Thank you, sis.
Prayers.
And our last check-in right now is actually going to be on spirituality. And you just kind of touched on it a little bit. So why don't you go ahead and just finish us off today? So go ahead and give us your update on how spirituality, you're maintaining a balance.
Okay. So I think I have already mentioned that as a Muslim, we have 5 prayers, right? Mandatory prayers every day. So I think the best way to, honestly, whatever happens in the evening can get to you up until the next morning. And I guess like performing a prayer can help reduce the stress from last night, or even like from, whatever traumatic, whatever significant happening to you during the day, because you can think about it. And like for me, reciting Quran specifically that talks about struggles help a lot, because there's a hope. You're not alone. God is watching you, and our ancestors have been through like even harder difficulties, and they can survive. So there's no reason to be worried that. So I don't know if if it's okay to say this. Like in the Quran, it's mentioned that behind every difficulty is to easiness, to ease. Do I see it correctly? So yeah, that specific verse in the Quran gives me like energy, gives me hope that something behind every like bad experience, there's going to be something good waiting for you ahead. So, that charges me, emotionally, psychologically, it like energizes me. So prayer plays a significant role in the way I take care of my mind. Also, talking to, like I said, talking to other people can also help reduce, the stress that I have. I have some loving friends here, and that I would like to once in a while visit and gather with, and they're very supportive. And sometimes the only thing you need when you're frustrated is a support from a friend, as simple as that. So yeah, I try to analyze what I actually need from a certain feeling that I have, and that's helps me to find the cure for myself. And talk to family, of course, parents, siblings, helps a lot as well. They're there, whatever happens, they're always beside you. And I do the same thing to them as well. So, and now I have you guys, international sisters. How amazing is that? So there are certain things that happen in Indonesia that I'm not comfortable sharing with even with my parents. Like, for example, so I live in a very patriarchy culture where men seen as the leader of the family. So when being the leader of the family means that it's not pretty common to see a husband washing the dishes, cooking for the family, and things like that. So I'm not comfortable sharing about that with even with my parents, because honestly they're probably the product of the patriarchy itself. But like talking about it with Andrea, with our some other friends from who have been to the US, helps a lot. There was an occasion like a couple of months ago when someone visited my house, a family members, a relative, and accidentally my husband, how do you call it, like boil a water to prepare a coffee for them. And this relative of mine said, you should never allow your husband to do what's supposed to be your role. I was like, what role? And she said, preparing a coffee for the guests. Oh my God, it's only preparing a coffee for the. So see, I was triggered at the time when she said that. I wanted to talk to Andrea, but she was, maybe very occupied with something at the time. So I talked to a friend of mine who have been to the US. And you know what? She said, Liah, we are already different. We are an Americanized Indonesian. So, it's to some extent we're no longer, the the village girl that they used to know. And it helped me. Oh my God, yes, you're so right. So that's the thing that I'm doing. Talking to a lot of, people who support me helps a lot. That's how I take care of my mind. Besides the religious prayers that I do. Now over to Andrea.
Thank you, sis. That made me reflect and think a lot. Because yeah, I heard that and my blood started boiling. Water. What do you mean water? Coffee. Because I don't know, dear family, my partner, basically he's a saint. I'm just gonna say that, and I think my family likes him more than me. Just kidding, just kidding. But yeah, he cooks. I don't cook, family. I would starve without him. I'll just go with that one. But yeah, gender roles, patriarchy,
Yeah.
expectations of our family. Spiritually, this is new for me, family. I was anti-religion because the rape and molestation is ramification of Indian boarding schools. I was socialized as Catholic as a child, and it made no sense to me. It made no sense. And I was literally the very smart kid who was reading all the stories in the missal, I think it is. and I was an altar server because it would give me something to do during mass, right? And my parents finally stopped forcing me to go around the 8th grade. But I went to Catholic school my entire life, middle school, high school. And I guess I didn't really understand what spirituality was. Religion didn't make sense, right? And then COVID hit and PTSD hit and trying to make sense of my life and wanting to die, wanting to kill yourself and no longer exist, it changes you. It changes your outlook on life because you begin to realize that there are things that are affecting you to such an extent that you don't, you're questioning human existence, right? You're questioning human existence. So for me, being religion never fed my soul. It didn't speak to me. It was an institution of bad people who hurt me and hurt my people. And then you go back to history, right? Colonization and feet being chopped off. So when Gammy sent me a message, when I talk about my Gammy talking to me family, I'm being serious, right? Gammy sends me messages and she talks to me and they're ideas, right? And she told me to raise a church. So when COVID hit, Thanksgiving of last year, I started my own church. I got online pastored, right? It's literally, I've been thinking about that idea, right? Divinity, do I need a degree? I don't need no degree, family. I mean, no offense to my colleagues who do pursue that, because again, it's a thought. But I, as an indigenous person who's a spiritual leader of my own community, do not need legitimization from an institution. I'm a coyote, I'm a pastor, I'm a shepherd of my own people, and I'm a community leader. So I have a legal document that says I can marry people, right, in the state of New Mexico, and I could perform the legal proceedings of what a religious pastor would do. But in all honesty,
Really?
family, yep. So I can marry you.
Wow.
Let me know if you need a coyote to marry you. Just kidding. But and then I started doing the daily prayer, right? It was my check-in. I was like, all right, I'm going all in, Yami. I'm starting a church, which is literally creating a religion, family. This coyote created a new religion. And it wasn't based on a God. It wasn't based on a religion. It was based on critical theory, right? Of which I'm an academic and believe education literally changes the world. It was based on looking at our real life experiences. And it was praying through talking to our ancestors. Really, I literally say, hey, Gammy, what's up? Right? Every single day. That's what I do, is praying, is talking to them and asking for their guidance. So that's my spirit.
Sorry, is it like Gammy? Her name is Gammy?
Gammy, like grandmother, Gammy.
Oh, grandmother. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. So she's my Gammy, and I talk to her family. And that's how this coyote feeds her spirit. Over to you, Rachel.
Oh, I was just thinking about that because Liah, I call my grandma, I call her Mama, Mamaw. So like we all have these violent. Oh, my sister, before I tell you about my spirit, my sister, when she had her daughter, she asked my mom, can we call you something other than Mama? Can we give you your own name? And she was like, yeah, of course. So my mom, she gets to be Marmy. That's her grandmother name, Marmy. So I like that one. But okay, anyway, my spirit has been restless and tumultuous, and I know I'm entering like a new phase of life. So because I am someone who practices Reiki, and just for context, Reiki is a type of therapy. It's a healing technique. It's based on the principle that the person, the practitioner, is channeling energy by means of touch. And so it's in order to activate the natural healing process of the person's body and restore physical and emotional well-being. It is also based and rooted in chakras and the idea that we have these energy points within our body where our pathways converge. So as I say pathways, I'm brushing my hand on my arm because I'm thinking about all of your blood vessels flowing through your veins, coming together in your organs. So because that is something that I study a lot, and learning about how to support each of those different intersections, because it's thought that we have over 600,000 of these pathways, but they converge in 7 major areas. So through yoga, through meditation, and through the practice of Reiki, and going to someone who performs Reiki on me, and then also doing Reiki to myself, by going through those practices, I have grown a lot and feel like I have stabilized my root chakra. I feel like I have a place in the world. I feel like I deserve to be here. I belong here. I am grounded. I have a purpose. I know how to move myself forward. And being able to say that, I don't think I've ever actually said that out loud to anybody. That is years of self-talk and therapy, and like, I deserve to live, because I did try to commit suicide when I was in middle and high school and didn't want to be alive. And a few years ago, when I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and was prescribed medication for my anxiety attacks, I was at school. School had always been the place where that's where the people are. That's where stuff's happening. That's where we're learning. Like, you go to school to put your best foot forward, to succeed, to be, right? And so now I'm the one leading school, and I'm having panic attacks in the staff lounge. I'm hiding and having panic attacks because I feel like I am not worthy. I am not living up to the expectations that have been placed on me. And so for me to be able to say to you today that I feel like I have a place in this world and I belong, that is great for me. But where I feel tumultuous is like moving upwards in the direction of energy flow. The next chakra is your sacral chakra. So that is like the powerhouse of creativity and that divine feminine energy. So sexual energy as well. So I just turned 30 in July, and I am starting to think that I want to have children. And that's a new thought for me, right? Working with early childhood education is one thing. Thinking about the labor, the act of every day, like Liah, you were saying, the crying, the trying to do work while you are also facilitating and playing and taking care of these children. I am fearful that because I struggle to take care of myself at times, I will not be able to take care of another. And so that's not realistic. The majority of my year is spent taking care of children. I am an expert in my field and continue to grow as I participate in and listen and learn from those researchers who know more and have different and varied experiences to I do. So my spirit is tumultuous because there's this new horizon, there's a new opportunity, the what if and the pursuing of trying to start a family with somebody. So with that energy and me having the past 18 months within my house and spending a lot of time by myself, I'm an artist. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's what I want to do with my time. I want to keep doing art. I want to be painting all the time. That's all I want to do, or making music. That I don't want to do anything else. I want to have silly ideas and make them come to life. And I know that I have such a background knowledge in early childhood education. I think that I am starting to move in the direction of curriculum development or research. And I have never thought about that. That has never been the path that I was going down. I thought I had a path. I thought that, I was going to open my own preschool and I was going to connect it to an elderly care facility. And that way we could take care of our little ones and our oldest, like, family members at the exact same time. It would be a place for my mom and dad to be. And if I had a child, like, we would all be together in this beautiful learning space, and other people's grandparents can help other people's children learn. And that's what I've thought for myself. And I see and feel that vision coming to life with these ideas of like, oh, I might want to start a family. And I'm also fascinated by where my creativity is taking me. So that's what I mean when I say my spirit is tumultuous.
I love all these amazing perspectives, family. And I'm excited because we're just getting started on our journey. And I'm also incredibly proud of us, family. We just collected an hour and 40 minutes of data. Woo-woo! We're on our way, family. And honestly, this is helping all of us. So not only is this a doctoral dissertation project, this is beyond, family. The three of us are experts in our field. We are educators, we're researchers, and you are literally witnessing history. Our last segment here is, and so again, family, don't forget to visit us every single week. And we're going to go through our weekly segments, which are, again, a day in the life. We'll have a targeted aspect where we reflect specifically on something. Today, we talked about how we get ready for work. Our second segment is going through our minds, bodies, and spirits and how we nurture or don't nurture them every week. And finally, our last one is going to be updated on hashtag our Sisters Dreams Project. Liah, I'm going to go ahead and let you take this away, because what the Abeita Shear Community Foundation is really doing, family, is it is a nonprofit. And what we're doing is we are raising funds and partnering with specific consultants of the International Abeita Consulting Group to help their individual projects not only get funding, but entrepreneurial support. So that includes support on our soon to be $16,000 followers on our 6 social media platforms. It also includes space on our website. But what we're doing, family, is each of our consultants has their own individual project that they're trying to make come true so that they can make change in the world. So tonight we're going to be introducing to you Liah's project, which is very near and dear to our heart. Liah, why don't you go ahead and take it away? Tell us about your dream.
Okay, so everyone, I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about my dream project. So a couple of months ago, that was probably March 2019, at the beginning of COVID strike in Indonesia, I talked with Andrea and how I wanted to have a thrift store specializing in used baby clothes in Indonesia here, because the prospect is very promising, because there's no such store exists so far. But last night I made a research. I found one in Central Java, which is 2 islands away from here, but they only specializes in baby equipment, strollers and car seats, baby car seats and things like that, but not baby clothes. So I see this as a very promising business idea. Also, this also aligned with my dream to support, new moms in my community, because I know, as a mom of 2 kids, I know how expensive baby clothes can be here, especially because like my salary, for example, sometimes is not enough to buy 4 baby clothes in a month. So it's very expensive here. Sometimes the price of baby clothes can actually be more expensive than adult clothes, one piece of adult clothes. So that, I think, is an issue that, if only we have thrift shops specialized in selling used baby clothes, can be, a solution to a lot of problems, a lot of people here, especially new moms. So when I was in the US, I found that you can actually buy baby clothes, use baby clothes in bundles in a lot of platform like Mercury, the one that I often used when I was staying at Andrea's house. So I made, I run my math, and I managed to find out that, like, even with the shipping cost, transporting the goods from the US to here, there's still a good chance that we can sell the baby clothes here cheaper than most of the new baby clothes, the price of the new baby clothes here in Indonesia. So, that's my dream project that I pray for it to be realized, to be able to be realized every day. So I'm looking forward to, receive any support, either emotionally or, financially, for anyone who might want to help.
And
over to you.
in addition, Liah, so not only are we trying to raise money, right, through the foundation to pay for the shipping costs, this coyote actually also has about 4 or 5 giant containers of baby clothes in my garage currently, family. Sorting, tagging, and laundry is on my list next. So we are soliciting donations in order to cover the shipping costs, which are going to be several $1,000s, family. And so, addition though, Liah, how did we tie this to literacy? Because could you share that vision with us? You were doing outreach in the community before COVID. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I've been working, I actually started a literacy project way before COVID. That was started in 2014. So I buy used books for the kids to be distributed for the kids first around my neighborhood. But then as I buy more books, I try to reach more community and more places. And so it still continues up to this day. But since the COVID hit, financially pretty hard for my family, I can only buy like a very limited number of books nowadays. The project started as a sign of, as, what do I call it? Like, I'm concerned that in my hometown, there's no such thing as public library. So a lot of the kids that are in primary school, they don't have access to books, magazines or things like that, which is very common in the US. I see, like, even in the trash cans, you can easily find books in the US, but not here. So I imagine what it would be like for these kids if they have access to fund readings every month, or, if someone can donate them books or magazines for free, how much it can change, their, I don't know, their behavior, their positive literacy behavior. And so I've been actively ask, friends in my circles to participate, but since the economy is tight nowadays, not many people wanted to join. So in line with the Fit for business idea, my idea of making a project in literacy program is to help not just the babies, but the toddlers, the kids of the primary school age, to be able to have to be able to gain benefit from the international sisterhood that we have established.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sis. So again, the Abeita Share Community Foundation, in collaboration with the Abeita Consulting Group, our international family, is supporting our Sisters Dreams project. So by supporting us, we are accepting monetary donations to cover the shipping. I am also on a limited basis accepting baby clothes and small items like shoes in great condition, family, because it is going to cost us quite a significant amount to ship it to Indonesia. So we are soliciting donations for high-end quality items. In addition to that, family, we are also soliciting donations for the book purchases as well. So a portion in the big picture, what we are doing, going back to the parable of teaching a man to fish versus giving a man a fish, what we're going to be doing is establishing this baby boutique so that my amazing sister Liah has the financial support so she can continue being an educational warrior in her community, with a 20% of the proceeds going to support the literacy project. So family, if you would love to help us get this project off the ground, please, please direct message us, email us, or heck, give this coyote a call. Thank you so much. We're going to go to the last slide, and I believe Rachel is going to bring us home.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
So for our conclusion and thank yous, we want to let you know what our ask is. So we would love to have you come join us next week to debrief, to update, to check in. You can support and follow and share the work that we're engaging in by going to the website, www.abeitaconsulting.com. You can volunteer for the organization. You can follow us on social media. On Twitter, I am at Mrs. Gerlop, and on Instagram, I am my whole name at Rachel Terlop. And Dre can be found at Dre Abeita. And remember, your goal is to be fearless and seek truth and lead and protect and remember. So thank you so much for your time this evening. Dre, is there anything else?
I'm going to go ahead and just have Liah. I'm just so excited you guys all came here and supported us. Liah, literally, you are going to have the last word, sis.
Yeah. Sorry, come again. I can't hear you. The network is not very good.
Oh, it's okay. We're just saying goodbye.
Oh, all right. So thank you guys. It's thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a great honor to be part of the family, to be honest. So Rachel, it's nice hearing your story, and everyone. Thank you so much.